Hello, leader. Let's go shopping. Today, you'll meet a long-standing member of the Leadership Lab who has learned how to set herself apart in the retail world of gift giving. With multiple shop locations and a large team, she's evolved as a leader since she opened up her first store over 10 years ago. Customer buying habits have evolved over the years too, and so has her idea of what it takes to build a strong retail team. She returns to the podcast today to share some leadership secrets about how she runs her business now versus then. So if you've ever wondered how introducing a leadership team can change everything you do for the better, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast. If you are a woman who owns a small business and you'd like to learn how to lead your team so they don't need you to hold their hand, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Shelley Warren. I've led winning teams in retail, innovative technical teams at a Fortune 50 corporation, and coached many remote teams to win at work. And in case you're wondering, no one escapes team troubles, including me. You already know that the people side of running your business can be tough. I'm here to help. So let's jump into today's episode with a little reminder that the team that got you here may not be the team that will get you there. Jenn Luna leads a team of 20 plus people with 4 brands, 4 locations, and an event space that hosts sold out creative workshops. She's always had a significant e-commerce platform and wildly popular inventory blowout sales events. And it's fun to watch Jenn and her team entice their customers live online on Instagram by taking them behind the scenes of unboxing products, merchandising, buying trips, and of course, Q&As. They are definitely a fun group, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know her leadership team members too. They've all got a passion for retail, and it shows. Jenn is a recipient of the Gift and Stationery 40 Under 40 Award from Stationery Trends and Gift Shop magazine, and she was named to their editorial board in 2021. She's married with 3 busy kids and a puppy and lives in University Place, Washington. And here's a fun fact. Jenn has had an eclectic past that includes working as a personal assistant and estate manager for celebrities like Scarlett Johansson, Melissa Etheridge, and Allie Brown. I can't wait for you to meet her. Welcome back to the Stacking Your Team podcast, Jenn Luna.
Thanks so much for having me. I absolutely love your podcast. So to be a guest on it is such an honor.
I'm thrilled to have you. The first time you joined me on air was back on episode 263, and we talked about brick and mortar leadership. So I feel like today is like part 2, because today I really want to have a conversation with you about what sets you apart in the world of brick and mortar shopping. Now, I think you know me well enough to know that I'm a small town girl. I'm a downtown girl, to be specific. And I love to shop local. And I consider myself a VIP in many of my shops for a number of different reasons. But I love to be able to support local shop owners. And I'm always intrigued. And it's probably because I was in retail for a bit and I loved it, that I just still have a big heart for retail. So when I think about you and the portfolio that you're building with the multiple locations that you have, I'm intrigued to know, after 10 years of being in this business, how are you continuing to stand out?
Well, first of all, you are a VIP customer and you're like my perfect ideal customer. I wish you lived closer.
So do I.
We try to reach the customers who appreciate what we do, who love the experience of shopping local and shopping small. Because, you can't compete with the Amazons. The same stories everybody will tell you with small business. So we just ignore that story and we make our own and we focus on our customers and what they need. I think that's the number one thing that kind of helps us stand out. But really for me, after 10 years, it comes down to mindset. It's a tricky conversation sometimes because I know it's hard. Small business is hard and there's so many hats you have to wear. But at the end of the day, you have to be definitely an optimist And you have to go in just with a really strong mindset that you are passionate about what you're doing. You're passionate about helping your customers. You're solving their needs. At the end of the day, you're not doing brain surgery. So don't take it too seriously. But you are, like in my example, like all of our shops are gift oriented. At the end of the day, we're helping people celebrate their people, whether it's a birthday, a wedding, funerals. We get lots of people coming in for guest books and, kind of gifts that are hard to find. So we really have dialed in over the last 10 years from trying to like serve every kind of customer that comes in to really focusing on finding the right curation of gifts that people can really use to celebrate. And once we kind of honed in on that, and that everything we were doing centered around gifting and celebrating, wow, it made so many decisions that were stressing us out and causing a lot of heartache and money problems to just go away. Because now anytime a decision comes of any kind, we're like, does this serve our customer? Does it focus on gifting? Does it help us get to our vision and our mission of helping people celebrate people? And that helps us not go after every shiny new thing and really curates our product selection in a way. Before we would just be like, that looks really fun. That looks really cute. I really like that. I mean, those aren't business decision types of questions. So once we kind of, figured out exactly what our customer was looking for and what problem we were trying to solve, it makes all those decisions much easier. And so I think being an optimist, narrowing in on your vision and your mission, and listening to your customers and providing them what they need, all of those things are kind of like our superpower. Whereas a lot of other small businesses, they don't go, in the first couple of years, they're just trying to figure it all out. If you can get past that initial part and really start to look at the numbers, find out what is working and what is not working, not being afraid to take chances and continue to evolve, then you can make it for the long run.
Well, I love that you've decided, hey, we're all about gift giving and celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's a Mother's Day gift, a birthday, a graduation, a new baby, a new home, someone's getting married, someone's getting divorced. All of the things that you're giving a gift to mark a milestone moment, that's the business that you're in. That's what I believe it's what's helping grow your brand. So as you're building out your portfolio and you've got multiple locations, you're known for your eye in selecting things I didn't know I needed. Like it's all about, oh my God, I love that. And that's really what's in my mind, what is really setting you apart, because I've had this conversation so many times locally. Well, I will go into one of my favorite shops. Let's just say it's a shoe store. And as I walk in, I see this new display case full of candles. I immediately go to the shop owner and I say, what are you doing? You are a shoe store. Why are you selling candles? And then as the story unfolds, they were available on discount. I know the former owner. We were together in a group. She's liquidating. I thought I'd help her out. And I said, Lord have mercy. You're not here to be the hero and the savior of all the other shop owners because they made a bad buying decision. Because guess what? You just made a bad buying decision by sinking all this money into this candle display.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. But, I feel for her though, because in one sense, she has a big heart. She wanted to help out a colleague or a connection that she had. But then on the other part, I wonder, do shop owners sometimes feel like they have to have all the things in their store because a sale is better than no sales?
It's really hard, especially in the beginning. You, like you said, she probably just had a kind heart and was trying something out or got talked into something. I'm very good now at year 10 at saying no. And you can say it in a way that's kind and that makes sense for everybody. That was a really hard lesson for me to learn. And I don't think I learned that until probably the last couple of years. On one hand, it's really great to take those chances. Like if that shop owner would have gone, I think candles, my customers would really love candles. and that's a great complementary product, that's one thing. But shoes and candles is kind of a stretch, you know? So on one hand, you do have to take some risks and try some things, but they have to be very calculated and educated and with purpose behind them. Because she's in the business of selling shoes. Everything she does should be shoes or shoe related, because that's why people are coming there. So I agree with you on that. And I think, because my heart always wants to open new businesses. That's my like passion. I love just the whole idea of creating them. But for me now, I've turned down a lot of opportunities in the last couple of years of ways we could have expanded, but it didn't fit the gifting vision that we have and helping people celebrate people. So like when we opened our toy store, that one's a no-brainer. You're helping the kid market of gifting and really finding, unique products that you can't find elsewhere that keeps them off screens. And then we opened our event venue, the Kinship Studio, which is in a building right next to one of our gift stores. And at first I was like, this is kind of out of our wheelhouse. It'd be very convenient. But then once I started thinking about it, I was like, this is just another extension of our brand of helping people celebrate their people. Like our stores help them find those gifts that make them feel special and like an amazing gift giver. Because at the end of the day, it shows that person that you care and you thought about them by finding them something special and unique. And then the studio gives them the opportunity to gather with their people and have somewhere nice, clean, and pretty and special for those celebrations. Especially after COVID, everybody wants to get together, but not everybody wants a bunch of random strangers in their house because that's a whole nother thing. So we give them this perfect little space. So for me, all the business decisions have to align.
Well, the event place that you have, I immediately connected the dots because I saw that you were featuring local artisans who create these wonderful items that people purchase as gifts. So not only can you go into one of your stores and buy the gift for a family member or a friend, there's a chance that you literally could meet the artist and learn more about them as individuals. What's the secret sauce in their talent? Why did they specifically choose to lean into this aspect of art versus another? And I agree with you. I love the whole idea that you could gather up a bunch of your friends for a wonderful experience, because that's the other thing that we learned through COVID is that people have money to spend and they'll also spend it on experiences versus things. So although you're selling things, you're also offering them a way to experience something. So it's actually like the double whammy of products and services that you're providing these individuals. And I think it's also elevates you as a brand that you are being a spokesperson for these artisans. You're really putting yourself out there and welcoming those individuals in, giving them a platform, giving them the spotlight, giving them the camera, giving them the mic, giving them the social media coverage. And all of that goodwill goes a long way in a local community.
One of our strongest parts of our business is the sense of community that we've built. I mean, people come in and they like your products, they'll probably come back. But when they know they can come in and our staff, recognizes them and remembers their preferences, and then say they come to the studio we just had a watercolor floral workshop where they got to meet Brianna, our amazing instructor, and we've sold some of her products in the store. And then they get to know her and they meet other people, and then they see those people around town. It's not Tacoma and Gig Harbor where we live is technically really big, but it really doesn't feel that way. And I think that's in part to small businesses like mine, where we gather those people together. Because you used to, think about it, like back in the day, you'd go to the bank, you'd go in and you'd see people, or then you'd go to the grocery store and you would see people. Now everybody does everything online. They never see people. Some people work from home and they really never see people. So we have a lot of people who this is their outlet. They'll sign up for multiple workshops. They come to every event we do because we have this sense of community. And I think it just comes across in all the people on our team, especially, that we care and that it's not just dollars being exchanged. That's just not the vibe we give off. That's not my purpose. I mean, obviously I have to make money to make it viable and to support the 20 team members that we have and their families. But I think that comes secondary to just being, a valuable part of the community that we're in. And it's one of my favorite parts.
That's a great segue. Let's talk about your team. So I've had the pleasure of getting to know Maddie and Anne and Genevieve and Kat over the last couple of years, because they're all enrolled in the team leader program. And I am impressed. That's the only word I can describe them. I am impressed with their commitment and loyalty to you and the brands and your local communities, their specific clients and customers. How did you go about selecting people to come and join you? Because like I say all the time, right? Like small business is very personal. It's super duper duper personal. Everything you do in a small business is so personal. So how did you learn how to select these people? And then once you had them, how are you continuing to showcase them as part of the experience that you offer to all of the customers that come into your location? Because as you said earlier, that's what's missing in small communities. It's, going to the grocery store and actually knowing the person that's checking you out, right? It's at the cashier. It's all those nuances that make the shopping experience more delightful. So how are you making that all happen, especially with 4 locations, that's really setting you apart?
It's to be honest, a lot of trial and error. But in terms of my leadership team, I think it's a big dose of luck and then a big dose of finding the people that get it. That's a simple way to put it, but you either get it or you don't. None of my people are here for the money. I mean, if it were up to me, they'd all be making twice their salaries and have all the benefits and bonuses. But the reality of small business is that's not usually what is available, at least at this stage, although we're working on that. So all of my people started as retail associates, every single one of them. And then they've grown with me. Kat is our most recent staff member. And it's funny about her because she applied at a time we weren't even hiring. She just sent in her resume. And we just instantly knew after interviewing her that she was our kind of person. And we just hired her just to have her on. We didn't even need the hours. And then she's immediately went up the ranks from retail associate to assistant manager to now she's the toy store manager. And then Maddie had to beg me for a job. She was one of my very first employees. My mom and I ran the store for 5 years by ourselves. Just the 2 of us. And then we had a couple very part-time, like high school employees. And then Maddie came along and was like, I want to work here. And we didn't need help either, but I could just tell that she was also my people and got it. So we hired her and she started as, part-time during college to, working up to store manager. And now she's my chief operating officer. And she's been with me over 5 years. And also was just a friend of mine. We were pregnant at the same time. We met at an event. I just instantly knew she was my people and that she got it. Came from a retail background. And she moved her way from assistant store manager immediately to store manager to now she's just director of operations for the Curious Bear and handles all the marketing. It's too many things to name. So it's really been a process. Those 2 have been with me for over 5 years. And then Genevieve started in one of our locations. She instantly went up the ranks as well. I think just being the kind of company that we are and the type of way we service the customer when they come in, we instantly attract people who want to work here. And they obviously need to make money or they wouldn't be looking for a job. But what they value is a positive, community-minded workspace and team. And so that just instantly pulls in the good people. And then I just try my best to, whether I do a good job of it or not, I just try to make sure they know they're valued and, promote them as I can and give them more responsibility. And I've just really lucked out with being able to attract those people. I won't say it's been an easy road going from being the only one on the team with my mom to now having 20 people. That has been probably, as a leader, my biggest struggle. And it's not necessarily that the people aren't right. It's I needed leadership training and I needed to learn how to manage that many people and all the personalities, because all of them are wonderful, but they're all very different. And so learning to handle all those personalities was something I think I will forever be working on, which is why I think I gravitated towards your program, because I just needed to learn those skills in greater depth with a coach. And then I love the aspect of bringing the team on, because I would learn all of these things and then I'd go back to the team. And it's one thing coming from me trying to say, this is what I learned in my coaching and this is what I want to do. But bringing them into a program where they're also getting training and they're also kind of understanding from somebody else other than just me, it brought us all kind of together and has done tremendous things. I'm just of the type that you need to continuously learn and invest in yourself. Like I will forever do that. It just looks different year to year, kind of. And now I want to give that gift to my leadership team, because I know in all the careers I had before this, there were many, I always just wanted to learn more and be the best that I could be. And sometimes it's hard to find, a way to do that. So that's why I love you. And this program is because I'm learning. Now my team is learning. And I think it's benefited everybody.
Well, you and your team are so highly participative. I am so excited to see your team show up on those calls. They always have great questions, great insight. They'll share some great stories. And they are so committed to you and the shops and the communities that you're building. The other thing that I've noticed with you, Jenn, is that you're really keen, and this is another reason why I think it helps you stand out, is you are set on helping them build mastery within their roles. You're not a control freak. You're not putting up all these gates for people to get through. You're setting expectations for sure. You're holding people accountable. You're sharing strategic goals. You're telling stories and messaging as to why this is important. Here's some feedback that we got. Here's what we're going to do about it. Here's the trends that I'm seeing in the marketplace. Here's where we're going to go next. Here's what I'm thinking about for next year. You're engaging them into these conversations, which I think is priceless, because when you've got high performing people that are incredibly committed, you can't be complacent with that, because the minute they start to feel like a number, an employee payroll number, the minute they start to feel like they don't matter as much as they did maybe last year or the year before, they start to feel disempowered. And then that starts to drift over into mediocre performance. And the next thing you know, they're just looking for a new opportunity. So you've done a really great job at learning how to offer them careers versus jobs. And even though they all came in sort of like organically, really, they all just appeared in front of you.
Mm-hmm. They did.
You had the foresight to notice who they were, see the potential, and then bring them on in a structured way that they learned those core skills, and they just kept adding more value, adding more value, adding more value. And I love seeing you take Maddie with you on these buying trips. I think that is genius, because I see a big future there to even divide and conquer on shopping and buying and making those decisions as to what's the next best thing that our clients and customers need. But it's also wonderful to see them all, like even Anne and Maddie will break out and they'll collab together on an Insta story or a reel. So it doesn't have to be you moving the business forward. It's your leadership team that's moving the business forward. So how do you compare now where you are now versus like when you first started with your mom, or even at the 5-year mark when you were on your own again? What's the biggest difference that you're finding now?
Well, at the 5-year mark, I was a complete perfectionist. I needed to have everything be perfect. And I was a control freak. I'm a recovered control freak now, I like to say. It was really hard to hand over, for example, social media. Like I did it all. I felt like it had to be my voice and my face. And then once I let Maddie start taking over for Paperlux, I mean, she just took on my voice and she just gets it, like I said. And so she was able to take that on for me and does a fabulous job. And then I let Anne start doing the toy store. And oh my gosh, it's like everybody thinks Anne owns the toy store, which I absolutely love because she's just such the face of the toy store and she does such a wonderful job of it. And she is passionate about social media and whether she would admit it or not. And she's so great at it. So once I kind of let those flood doors open, I'm like, oh my gosh, other people can do these things. And then that time that freed me up to do, the next thing, that was like the big first hurdle for me, is letting those social media channels kind of open up. And then buying, I used to do every single thing. I was like, that's my money. I need to be the final say. But then I started realizing, Maddie actually knows the numbers a little bit better than I do, or Anne knows what's selling better in the toy store because she's the one checking them out all the time.
Sure.
And so that just kind of progressed. And now Maddie does the bulk of the buying. I kind of have final say, and I definitely, well, Maddie and I have very similar taste. And then on the toys side, Anne and I have very similar taste. So it works out really easily, but they both handle that for me now. Like Anne and Kat are going to Astra, this big toy convention buying market later this month or next month, and they're going without me. I have a daughter who is graduating high school, and
nice.
At first I was like, they can't possibly, go without me. And then I was like, yes, they can. They can totally do this without me. They're going to do a fantastic job. And honestly, they'll all do it better than I would probably do it.
Yes.
So kind of growing, and at this stage, letting them grow in their roles and take on all that extra responsibility. I hope they're finding that very fulfilling. And then it frees me up to be the leader that at 20 employees and growing that I need to be at this point. I need to stop entering products into the online system. I need to, be finding ways to generate revenue and find another store location, those types of things. So I'm really loving the progression of it. I think they are too. My biggest fear is just that they will cap out at some point and want to do something bigger, and I won't be ready for it. So that's why I feel like I need to continue to grow and find revenue streams so that I can continue to give everybody, the monetary things that they need, but also just create, like you said, that career so they feel fulfilled in what they're doing and don't feel stagnant and, stuck at a ceiling.
I love all these growth strategies. And I love hearing how you're letting go of control and you really are recognizing that the people closest to the work know the most about the work. So let's let them have some decision space for sure. The other thing that I really enjoy watching with you and your team is how dedicated your leadership team is to coaching and developing the part-time staff and, those other team members that are coming in because they provide a cushion seasonally, or they're here for the summer, or whatever, the root cause is of why you're hiring them. Because back in the day, that would have been you. You would have been making all the hiring decisions, doing all the onboarding, literally pairing with them through their shifts throughout the onboarding until they could literally stand alone on the floor and engage with your customers in a proper way, so that they can really be on brand. But now you have this leadership team that's doing that. They're also are doing the scheduling. Like, oh my gosh, think about all those years where you'd be just locked and loaded for hours trying to come up with a work schedule.
That is one of the greatest things I got to hand off, is the schedule. And also, this is where I want to chime in. Genevieve on my team. So she handles kind of the studio and one of our Paper Lux locations and Little Lux. So it's kind of 3 different businesses. And she comes from kind of an HR background and corporate retail. She worked at some really amazing big corporate brands, but she kind of showed me the power that we have as employers. Because, as I'm ready to hire my 15-year-old daughter into the store, luckily I don't have to train her, but that sometimes they can be frustrating because they have all these other things they're trying to do. They don't know how to count cash these days. There's so many things you have to train them on. And at first that really stressed me out. But then watching Genevieve train these high school students, she has the patience of a goddess, but she kind of let me recognize that we have this wonderful opportunity to shape these young people. I get teary-eyed even thinking about it. Okay, pull it together.
It's so true. It's so true because you're giving them a really great, wonderful work experience that are setting some foundations in behaviors, habits, qualities, characteristics of themselves that they will take out into the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jen is so wonderful at that. She has really not turned these they we come in with they're great people, but like when I see them when they leave after a year or two under her kind of guidance, it's magical. Kind of the relationship that they have, and I absolutely love that. And now, like I said, my daughter Riley is starting, and I just messaged Kat because she's going to start in the toy store, and I was like, don't treat her like my daughter, just train her, but train her real. And so now they've got a whole training program they go through that the team developed all on their own. Obviously, I've seen it and approved of it, that type of thing. But it's really a cool opportunity that we have, as leaders to be able to guide people through the hiring process. Because a lot of people start with us just as a retail associate. They're just looking for a part-time work. Now, like with your help in the coaching program, and like Jen's got so many great background skills, like we're trying to develop what their career path is going to look like, how we're going to stack their skills, as you would say, so that they can continue to learn and we find what their strengths are and then give them more work and challenges in that area so that they really feel like they're adding to their resume and it's not just punch in, punch out. And that looks different from a lot of people for each person. One thing that came up in one of our team meetings that Genevieve kind of discovered is that in one location, almost everybody that works for us are entrepreneurs in their own right. They either have their own card line or they're an artist. There's a couple other ones. And so that takes a different mindset to get them to own into my business. They can still have theirs, but bring those skills and things they're passionate about there over to working in our store. So these are all things I never even thought about a couple years ago. And it brings me a lot of joy to know we're having that impact on people and that they're having that impact on me.
It's wonderful. I love that you've recognized that these young people that are, taking their first step out into the world of work, when they come and join one of your teams, you're really helping them grow up. Like, honestly, you're helping them grow up. You're helping them be a viable asset to their local community. You're helping them learn some professionalism. You're helping them learn about customer service excellence. You're helping them learn about what it takes to run a small business, what it costs to run a small business, what it means to show up on time, what it means to earn your paycheck, all of those things, what it means to say no to the basketball game because you're scheduled for work. It's all of those big moments that add up over time. And then before you know it, they head off to college. They may come back, return to you over some holiday breaks.
Yep, several have.
Yeah, and they're coming back because they miss you and they've learned, wow, they were so good to me. I learned so much working there. It was the best job I ever had. And for most people, that is the set point. That will forever be their gauge, that they will compare every other employment opportunity they get. They will always compare it to working at one of your stores. And I think it's a really beautiful thing. It reminds me back in the day when we were doing a ton of hiring for corporate manufacturing, young people that came in that had experience working at McDonald's automatically rose to the top of the list. Automatically. And you would think, well, what's McDonald's got to do with entering a really high paid local community manufacturing role? I'll tell you why, because when they're at McDonald's, they grew up there. They scraped their knuckles. They learned how to take feedback. They learned how to deal with irate customers. They just learned all the bumps and bruises about being in the workplace. They learned it at McDonald's. And we always knew that McDonald's had really robust hiring practices and onboarding and training practices. So they automatically went to the top of the list. And I'm sure that over time, your former team members, when people see, oh, they worked at Paper Lux, they worked at Little Lux, they worked at Curious Bear Tours, they'll go to the top of the list too. Because people will start to recognize, oh, if they worked at a local small business for that long, that many rotations, that many years, they must have been doing something right. They kept them. And so let's build upon that.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's a great experience. It's what I would have loved to have, when I was that age.
And I love it that Riley's going to come and join you.
She's going to be great.
It's like a full circle moment.
It is.
The first shop starting with you and your mom, into now having Riley come on board. And I'm sure she already loves and respects you, but man, oh man, she's going to have a whole different viewpoint as to who's my mom after
I think so.
after she gets put through her paces.
Yeah, and my leadership team, they're strong, and they're not going to let her, nothing's going to fly by. She's going to learn all the ways that you need to do all the things. And I just love that it's not me having to train her. I think it's going to be so great. So I can't wait to see how she grows in the next 2 years.
Well, Jenn, how can people who are intrigued to learn more about the products and the services that you provide, how can they get to know you more and just see what you and the leadership team are all about?
I struggle with this a little because we have, like you mentioned, a few different brands. But I think if you want to go on the web, you can go to The Kinship, and that's spelled the kind with a D at the end, ship.com. And that's kind of our overarching brand that has all the different stores below it. And you can find out all the information there. There's links to all the social. But if you really want to follow us and you're on Instagram, Paper Luxe Shop is definitely where we started. And so that's where we have the most content. And that's Paper and then Luxe, Luxe, at Paper Luxe Shop. Somebody had Paper Luxe, so I had to add the shop at the end.
Well, we'll definitely have all those links in our show notes. But the other thing I want to encourage people is if you live in the US, get over there onto Instagram, watch the lives.
Yeah.
I love the interactive shopping experiences that you offer over on Instagram as well. You have a full-blown shipping and receiving department.
Absolutely.
Based on what I've seen, the glimpses that I've seen, how you've set your wear, I mean, I am impressed. Coming from manufacturing, I mean, I am impressed with what you have set up there for your shops and how you're managing your inventory. So if you love gifts, this is the place. E-commerce is alive and well with Jenn Luna. You can ship.
Yep. You can go to paperlux.com. You can go to curiousbeartoys.com. We ship every single day, lots of packages. And then also, if you want, you can download our app. If you just search Paperlux on your Apple or Android device app store, we do live, like Shelly just mentioned. I always forget about that, but we do once a month live shopping where I just show you what's new in the store. You get to know me a lot better and Maddie on my team. And then we do big live clearance sales where when we get down to like one item left of something, we do these big quarterly events and you can find really great deals, but it's also just really fun. And I think people get to know each other on those lives in the app and then they start talking to each other. It's been a really amazing experience. So hopefully one of those resonates with you, whether it's the app or Instagram or just shop on our website. And we're always available to answer any questions.
I also love how you do these inventory blowouts like seasonally.
Yep.
Those look like a complete riot. How you have everything, all merchandise, grab and go, prices slashed and it's first come, first served, door crasher kind of stuff. And, these are the kind of things that really do set you apart from your competition and from those other big box gift stores, right? We can all go to HomeSense, you can always go to Winners. You can always go and buy that kind of stuff. But it's a totally different experience when you come to a small shop like yours that is offering an experience from the minute you walk in the door to the minute you leave the door. And you're just doing so many things that really set you apart, Jenn. And I'm just so happy to know you, happy to support you.
Well, likewise. You've made such a big difference on the business in the last couple of years and on me personally. So thank you.
All right. Well, we'll send our listeners out to get out there and get shopping.
Awesome.
Make sure you're checking out all the links that we have in the show notes so that you can get to know Jenn and her leadership team and all the wonderful products that she has available to you. And thanks for spending some time with us today, Jenn.
Thanks, Shelly.
It's been wonderful to see Jenn and her leadership team evolve. They really are working as collaborators and leaning far into the mastery they each have developed within the specific shops that they have a passion for. I loved hearing how Jenn took in a deep breath and started showing up more on social media because her customers wanted to see her more often, and how she's let go of attending buying trips and trusting her leadership team to make those purchasing decisions. And how did you feel when you heard Jenn's leadership team has taken over scheduling, hiring, and training? Sounds like a dream come true? Well, you can do this too when you have the right leadership team in place. I invite you to connect with her and her incredible team at the Kinship and the various stores. All of the links are in the show notes. It'll be a bright spot in your day. So what about you? Are you ready to consider joining the Leadership Lab? It's my transformational small group coaching program designed to accelerate your effectiveness to lead your team really well while removing yourself from the day-to-day operations. Joining the Leadership Lab could be your very next best step to finally knowing how to lead so your team turnover settles down. People know exactly what they're being paid to do, and the results you've been wanting your team to deliver actually happens. I've got the tools, frameworks, and coaching experience to help you to stop being disappointed in your team and instead start feeling great about who you hire, who you promote, and who you hand over the reins to, because they are truly capable and happy to commit to bringing your vision alive for your clients and customers. The application link is in the show notes. Apply today. I can't wait to learn more about you. Leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times. So don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been craving. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.